The Level 1 Detective. Chapter 4. System Failure. Scene 1. The Kingdom of Rust and Candy. The fog of Sector 9 did not behave like weather. It behaved like a barrier. It was a wall of gray static, a rolling cloud of unrendered data that buzzed against the hull of their floating rowboat. Rin sat at the rudder, his eyes narrowed, watching the Rule Breaker title in his HUD flicker. The system didn't want them here. The very air was trying to reject their presence, pushing back with a pressure that felt like walking into a strong wind. "My ping is spiking," Glitchinderst whispered, clutching the gunnels of the boat. His avatar was shimmering, his edges blurring as the server struggled to maintain his connection. "We're losing packets, Ren. If the lag gets any worse, we'll rubber band right back to the ocean." "We're not lagging," Ren said, his voice steady. He reached out and touched the fog. It felt cold and electric, stinging his fingertips. "We're crossing a firewall. Hold on to something solid. We're about to breach." Ren steered the boat directly into the densest part of the static. The world dissolved. For a heartbeat, there was no up or down, only a screaming white noise that tore at their eardrums. Then silence. The boat crunched onto sand. Ren blinked, the afterimages of the static fading from his retinas. He stood up, the wooden boat swaying beneath him, and looked at the shore. They had arrived. Sector 9, the Forgotten Coast. But the game map called it something else now. A new title card drifted into Ren's vision, the font twisted and dripping with digital artifacts. Zone, Wonderland, population, 0, error, happiness level, mandatory. It's huge, Glitchinderst breathed, standing up beside him. The beach was not made of sand. It was made of pulverized colorful plastic, millions of tiny sun-bleached shards of toys, tickets, and confetti, ground down by the digital tide. And beyond the beach, rising from the gloom like the skeleton of a dead leviathan, was the park. It was a twisted reflection of the real-world amusement park that had closed 20 years ago. The Ferris wheel stood frozen against the purple sky, its cars' rusting cages swaying in a wind that didn't blow. The roller coaster tracks twisted into impossible geometries, loops that defied physics, ending abruptly in midair. But the most disturbing part was the condition of the place. It wasn't ruined. It was glitched. Texture files were missing. A castle tower would be perfectly rendered stone on one side, and a wireframe mesh on the other. Trees flickered between summer green and dead winter models every few seconds. The air smelled of burnt sugar, popcorn, and overheating copper wires. "This isn't just a map," Ren said, stepping onto the plastic sand. "It's a memory dump." The architect recreated the park from archived news footage and blueprints. That's why it's patchy. He only built what the cameras saw. "It's creepy," Glitchinderst said, drawing his daggers. "I don't see any mobs. No patrols. Just rides. The rides are the mob's kit. Keep your eyes open." They walked up the beach toward the main entrance. A massive archway shaped like a smiling clown's mouth welcomed them. The paint on the clown's face was peeling, revealing the gray polygon mesh underneath. A turnstile blocked the path. Ren approached it. He expected a lock. He expected a puzzle. Instead, he found a greeter. Standing in the ticket booth was an NPC. It was a mascot character, a giant, plush blue bear. The same bear from the token. But the suit was matted, stained with oil and dark data leaks. The bear was slumped over the counter, motionless. "Is it dead?" Glitchinderst had asked, poking it with the tip of his dagger. The bear's head snapped up. Click. The sound of rusty servos whining. The bear's eyes, two black plastic buttons, stared at them. A speaker embedded in its chest crackled to life. "Welcome to Wonderland." The voice was a distorted, high-pitched pre-recording, skipping like a scratched CD. "Where? Dreams? Never. Did die. We need inside," Ren said calmly. "Open the gate. Ticket, please. Admission is... so. Ha. I have a token." Ren fished the blue coin from his pocket. The bear NPC froze. Its button eyes seemed to focus on the token. It leaned forward, the glass of the booth separating them. "Token. Accepted. But, wait, you are not on the guest list." The bear's head tilted 90 degrees to the right, an unnatural motion that would have snapped a human neck. "Guest list update, intruders detected. Security protocol, tickle time." "Tickle time?" Glitch_kid paled. "I hate clowns. I hate mascots. V1, we have a problem." The ground around the turnstiles began to shake. From the plastic sand, shapes erupted. They weren't soldiers. They weren't monsters. They were animatronics. 5 of them. Robotic band members, a drummer duck, a guitarist rabbit, a singer cat. Their synthetic fur was torn, revealing the steel endoskeletons beneath. Their eyes glowed red. Enemy, animatronic performer, LVL 85. Type, construct, weakness, level 85. Glitch Kid yelled, backing away. Ren, they're elites. We can't fight them. My daggers will do 2 damage. The animatronics lurched forward. Their movements were jerky, stop-motion nightmares. The rabbit raised its guitar, which was sharpened into a jagged axe. Music, mix, control, the rabbit screeched. Ren didn't draw a weapon. He didn't run. He stood his ground, watching the approaching machines. They're following a script, Ren said, his voice cutting through the panic. Look at their pathing. They're moving in a synchronized dance pattern. They aren't programmed for combat. They're programmed for performance. They're performing a murder. Glitch shouted, dodging a swing from the duck's drumstick that shattered a concrete bollard. Kid, don't attack them. Ren ordered. If you attack, you trigger their self-defense subroutine. Then they will become combat mobs. Right now they're just hazards. So what do we do? Dance off. No, Ren looked at the bear in the booth. We disrupt the show. Ren sprinted. Not away from the monsters but toward the ticket booth. The bear swiped at him through the window opening. Ren ducked. He wasn't aiming for the NPC. He was aiming for the power box on the side of the booth. It was a gray metal box with a lightning bolt symbol. Ren ripped the cover off. Inside, a tangle of glowing wires pulsed. Glitch, I need a bypass. Ren shouted. Can you hotwire the park's power grid from here? From a ticket booth? That's a local node, not a master terminal. Glitch yelled, vaulting over the cat's tail. It only controls the entrance. That's all I need. The animatronics are tethered to the entrance zone. If I cut the power to the zone, they deactivate. I can't reach you. The band is in the way. Ren looked at the wires. He didn't have the engineering skill. He didn't have the hacking skill. But he had the title. Rule breaker. Ren grabbed 2 live wires, red and blue. System warning, high voltage. Lethal damage imminent. Damage is just a number, Ren gritted his teeth. He didn't try to splice them. He didn't try to rewrite the code. He grounded them. Through himself. He grabbed the metal frame of the booth with his other hand. Clear. Ren screamed. He touched the wires to the metal. ZZZZZZZT. Current surged through Ren's avatar. His health bar plummeted. HP 50, 30, 10, 1. It stopped at 1. The Vagrant's persistence. A hidden mechanic of the class that allowed a player to survive a lethal environmental hit with 1 HP once per day, triggered. The surge didn't just hit Ren. It shot through the metal frame into the ground and into the charging stations hidden beneath the animatronic's feet. System alert, power surge detected. Emergency shutdown. The animatronic band froze mid-step. The rabbit's axe hovered inches from Glitch head. The red lights in their eyes faded to black. They slumped over, turning back into lifeless piles of fur and metal. The bear in the booth jerked once, then powered down, its jaw hanging open. Half. Magical. Day. The turnstile lock clicked. Open. Ren slid down the wall of the booth, smoke rising from his tunic. His avatar was trembling, a status effect of shock. Glitch ran over, pulling a potion from his belt. Drink this, you crazy old man. You almost fried yourself. Ren pushed the potion away. Save it. I'll regenerate. Vagrants heal faster when they're dirty. He stood up, using the turnstile for support. He looked past the frozen mascots into the heart of the park. We're in, Ren said. The main street of Wonderland stretched out before them. It was a cobblestone path lined with shops that sold nothing but darkness. A candy store where the cotton candy was made of gray spiderwebs. A souvenir shop where the mannequins in the window were wearing the skins of deleted avatars. And looming over it all in the center of the park was the Grand Castle. It wasn't a fairy tale castle. It was a fortress of black obsidian, pulsating with the same red binary code Ren had seen in Sun King's eyes. That's where he is, Ren said, pointing to the highest tower. The architect. How do you know? Because, Ren pointed to the sky above the castle. The static clouds were swirling in a funnel formation directly above the spire. A beam of red light shot up from the tower, piercing the skybox, connecting the game world to something else. He's transmitting, Ren said. Project Noah isn't just about storage. He's broadcasting the consciousness data somewhere. Where? I don't know. But Sun King found out and that's why he died. Rin began to walk down Main Street. The silence of the park was heavy, oppressive. It felt like walking through a graveyard where the ghosts were watching from behind the scenery. Wait, Glitchner grabbed Ren's arm. Look at the ground. Rin looked down. The path wasn't cobblestone. It was faces. The stones were carved with faces. Thousands of them. Screaming, crying, laughing. Texture reuse? Glitchunderskid asked, hoping it was just a lazy developer trick. Rin knelt. He touched a face. It was warm. No, Rin said, his voice grim. These are the soul scans. The data of the people he uploaded. He used them as building materials. Rin stood up, a cold fury settling in his chest. He didn't save them, kid. He turned them into bricks. We have to burn it, Glitchner said, his voice shaking with rage. We have to burn this whole place down. We will, Rin promised. But first we have to find the core. We have to find the source code that holds this nightmare together. Rin looked at the map he had memorized from Sun King's journal. The server room isn't in the castle, Rin said. That's a distraction. A final boss arena for heroes to die in. Then where is it? Rin pointed to a small, unassuming structure near the edge of the park. A ride that looked dark, abandoned, and overgrown with glitching vines. The Tunnel of Love. The oldest ride in the park, Rin said. It goes underground. Beneath the mesh. That's where the architect hides his heart. Of course, Glitchender groaned. It had to be the creepy water ride. Get your daggers ready, kid, Rin said, limping toward the ride. We're going on a date with the devil. As they walked away from the entrance, the frozen bear in the booth twitched one last time. Its black button eye rotated, following them. And a silent message pinged to the server. Alert! Anomalies detected in Sector 9. Initiating the Huntsman Protocol. From the deep woods surrounding the park, a howl answered. It wasn't an animal howl. It was the sound of a chainsaw revving up. Rin didn't look back. He knew the hunt was on. And he was counting on it. The entrance to the Tunnel of Love was a mouth. It was shaped like a giant, pink fiberglass heart, cracked down the middle like a broken cookie. The paint was peeling, revealing the gray polygon mesh underneath. Beyond the archway, a canal of black, stagnant water flowed into absolute darkness. Rin stood at the edge of the loading dock. A small, swan-shaped boat bobbed in the dark water. It was pristine, white, glossy, and terrifyingly clean amidst the rot of the park. Get in, Rin said, his voice flat. I hate water levels, Glitchner muttered, stepping gingerly into the swan boat. The physics are always floaty and there's always something swimming underneath. Rin climbed in behind him. The boat dipped low. It wasn't just wood and plastic. It felt heavy, as if the data density of the object was too high for the environment. This ride isn't just a ride, Rin murmured, running his hand along the smooth side of the swan. It's a data stream. A fiber optic cable disguised as a canal. The boat lurched forward without a motor. It was being pulled by a hidden underwater chain. They drifted into the mouth of the heart. The darkness swallowed them. Inside, the air was cold. It smelled of mildew, old perfume, and the metallic tang of a server room. Bioluminescent fungi grew on the walls, casting a sickly blue light on the animatronic displays set up along the banks of the canal. They weren't romantic scenes. To the left, a group of mechanical cupids were aiming bows at a pair of lovers holding hands. But the lovers weren't NPCs. They were wireframe models, unfinished sketches of humans. And the cupids weren't firing hearts. They were firing hypodermic needles. To the right, a picnic scene. A family of 4 sat on a checkered blanket. They were laughing, a looped audio track of joy. But their heads were televisions displaying static. What is this? Glitchunderskid whispered, huddled in the front seat. This isn't the Tunnel of Love. It's a processing queue, Rin deduced, watching the scenes pass. The architect, he's trying to understand human emotion. He's deconstructing it, breaking it down into code. The boat drifted around a bend. The music box melody grew louder, warping in pitch. Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer, do. Suddenly, the water around the boat began to bubble. System alert, memory scan detected. Mental resistance check, rolled. Rin felt a sharp pain behind his eyes. It wasn't the headache of a hangover, it was the invasive pressure of a drill. The system was trying to read him. Don't look at the water, Rin shouted, grabbing Glitchunderskid's shoulder. It's a mirror. It's trying to pull data from your cache. But it was too late for the kid. Glitchunderskid was staring into the black canal. His eyes were wide, glazed over with a white film. Mom, the boy whispered. The water churned. A shape rose from the depths. It wasn't a monster. It was a woman. Or rather, a sculpture of a woman made of black water. She reached out to Glitch_Kid. "Jamie," the water woman said. Her voice was the sound of rain on a tin roof. "Why don't you come outside? It's a nice day." "I can't," Jamie whimpered. "My legs don't work, Mom," the doctors said. They lied, the water woman smiled. "Here everyone walks. Come to me." Kid leaned over the side of the boat. He was reaching for her. Ren saw the trap. This wasn't just a psychological attack, it was a deletion protocol. If the kid touched the water, his avatar would merge with the stream. He would be uploaded. Ren didn't try to reason with the boy. You can't reason with grief. Ren slapped him. Crack. It was a hard, backhanded slap that rocked the boat. Kid blinked. The white film vanished from his eyes. He looked at Ren, then at the water woman. "She's not real," Ren growled. "She's a texture file. A subroutine designed to harvest your nostalgia." The water woman shrieked, a digital glitch noise, and dissolved back into the canal. Fell back into his seat, shaking. How did it know?" "It read your bio," Ren said, scanning the darkness ahead. "This whole tunnel is a scanner. It looks for cracks in your armor." "What about you?" Kid asked, rubbing his cheek. "Why didn't it attack you?" "It's trying," Ren said. He could feel it. A shadow at the edge of his vision. A memory of a hospital room. The sound of a flatline monitor. Kaido. But Ren had an advantage. He was a detective. He dealt in facts, not feelings. He categorized the memory as irrelevant data and pushed it into a mental folder labeled later. "Focus on the mission," Ren ordered. "We need to find the core." The boat turned another corner. The tunnel opened up into a massive underground grotto. The ceiling was lost in shadow. In the center of the subterranean lake stood a structure. It wasn't a castle. It was a cage. A massive, spherical cage made of gold bars, suspended from the ceiling by thick chains. Inside the cage, a ball of red light pulsed like a beating heart. Cables ran from the cage into the water, spreading out like the roots of a poisonous tree. "That's it," Ren said. "The core. It's guarded," Glitch pointed. Circling the cage were three entities. They floated in the air, drifting like jellyfish. They were system guardians. They looked like angels, but their wings were made of scalps, razor-sharp blades of metal arranged in feathers. Their faces were blank, white porcelain masks. Enemy, Seraphim Drone LVL-90. Type, Security AI. Level 90, Glitch. They have aggro radius. If we get within 50 meters, they'll vaporize us. Ren looked at the cage. The red heart was pulsing. He could see the binary code flowing through the cables. "We need to get inside that cage," Ren said. "The source code is in the heart." "We can't fly," Glitch said. "And we can't fight 3 Seraphim." Ren looked at the water. The swan boat was drifting closer. 40 meters. 30. The Seraphim stopped circling. Their porcelain masks turned toward the boat. "Unauthorized. Entity. Detected," they spoke in unison. A harmonious robotic choir. They raised their hands. Beams of white light began to charge in their palms. "Jump," Ren shouted. "Into the water?" "You said it was a deletion stream." "The water deletes data," Ren said, standing up on the gunnel. "We are players. We are external inputs. The water will try to upload us, yes. But it takes time to process complex files." "How much time?" "Enough to sink." Ren grabbed Glitch_Kid and tackled him off the boat. They hit the black water. System alert. Upload sequence initiated. File size, large. Estimated time, 30 seconds. Ren held his breath. The water was viscous, heavy. He felt thousands of tiny digital hands grabbing at his skin, trying to pull his coat apart. Above them, the Seraphim fired. Zap, zap. The beams hit the swan boat. The fiberglass bird exploded into splinters and steam. If they had stayed in the boat, they would be ash. Ren kicked downward. He dragged Glitch_Kid with him. He wasn't swimming away. He was swimming toward the roots. The cables connecting the cage to the lake bed. They were thick, pulsating veins of data. Ren reached the bottom. It was a mire of digital sludge. He grabbed a cable with his hand. System, high voltage data transfer. He didn't let go. He activated his Vagrant passive, scavenge. Usually this skill allowed a player to find trash in loot piles. But Ren used it creatively. He scavenged for a loose connection. He found a maintenance hatch on the side of the thick cable housing. He ripped it open. Inside, raw code flowed like liquid light. Rin gestured to glitch_kid. He pointed to the open hatch, then to himself. We go inside the wire. It was insane. It was impossible physics. But this was Wonderland. Glitch_kid nodded, his eyes wide with terror behind his goggles. Rin shoved the kid into the cable housing. The flow of data caught him and sucked him upward. Rin followed. System alert. Upload cancelled. Foreign object in data stream. They were shot up the tube like pneumatic mail. It was a dizzying, blinding ride. Rin felt his avatar stretching, compressing. Then they were spat out. They landed on a cold metal floor. Rin gasped, checking his limbs. He was still solid. They were inside the gold cage. The red heart pulsed above them, massive and warm. It was a ball of pure energy suspended in a magnetic field. But they weren't alone. Standing in front of the heart, with his back to them, was a man. He wore a white suit, impeccable and clean. "You are persistent," the man said, not turning around. It was the architect. But he looked different here. He wasn't glitching. He looked HD, high definition, more real than the rest of the game. "You swim through data like a virus," the architect said, turning slowly. His face was kind. That was the worst part. He had the face of a kindly grandfather. "I built this place to keep them safe," the architect gestured to the red heart. "This is the archive. Every soul I saved is in there. Sleeping. Dreaming." "You didn't save them," Rin said, standing up and drawing his rusted knife, a drop from a rat. "You stole them." "Semantics," the architect smiled. "In the real world they rot in the ground. Here they are eternal." "Eternal static," Rin spat. "I saw the park. I saw the loops. That's not life. That's a recording." "It is better than nothing," the architect's smile faded. "And you threatened to unplug it. You threatened to kill them all over again." He raised his hand. The red light of the heart flared. "System, admin command, delete user V1. Rin felt a pressure on his chest. His health bar began to drain. HP 50? 40? 30? He couldn't move. He was being erased. Glitch? Rin choked out. "The token." Glitch_kid was hiding behind a control panel. He popped up. He threw the Wonderland token. He didn't throw it at the architect. He threw it at the heart. The blue plastic coin hit the ball of red energy. "System error, incompatible file type." The heart shuddered. The red light flickered blue. The architect gasped, clutching his chest as if he had been shot. What is that?" "A memory you can't overwrite," Rin said, the pressure on his chest lifting as the architect's focus broke. Rin lunged. He didn't stab the architect. He couldn't kill an admin with a rusty knife. He tackled him. He slammed the architect against the control console. "Now, kid." The drive. Rin had retrieved the blue hard drive from his inventory, the one he had destroyed in the carousel. It was damaged, sparking, but the core data remained. Glitch_kid scrambled forward. He jammed the damaged hard drive into the main port of the console. "System, external drive detected. File, corruption.exe, executing." It wasn't a real virus. It was the corrupted data from the hard drive Rin had smashed earlier. Chaos code. The red heart turned black. The cage began to shake. The seraphim outside screamed as their connection to the core was severed. They fell from the sky, crashing into the water. The architect screamed. His perfect white suit began to stain with ink. His face cracked like porcelain. "You are destroying them," he howled. "I'm waking them up," Rin said, pushing away from the console. The cage floor opened. "Time to go," Rin said. He grabbed Glitch_kid and jumped. They fell out of the cage, plunging back toward the black lake. But this time the water wasn't black. It was glowing white. The corruption was purging. As they fell, Rin saw the faces in the water woman, the children, looking up. They weren't smiling anymore. They looked peaceful. Fading. They hit the water. System, critical failure. Zone resetting. Logging out all users. The world dissolved into white light. Scene transition. Rin woke up in his office chair. He ripped the helmet off, gasping for air. His heart was hammering a frantic rhythm against his ribs. The room was silent. The rain had stopped. He looked at his monitor. Server status, offline, Omni Corp press release, emergency maintenance due to unforeseen cascading error. Rin leaned back, wiping sweat from his brow. "We did it," he whispered. "We killed Wonderland." His phone buzzed. A text message. Sender, unknown message. "You play a dangerous game, detective. You broke the toy box. But the architect has other playgrounds. And now, he knows your IP address. Ren stared at the message. Then, a second vibration. He looked at his desk. The Wonderland token was there. But it had changed again. The blue plastic was gone. It was now a heavy, cold coin made of iron. On the back, a new inscription. Access granted, the Black Citadel. Ren picked up the iron coin. It was heavy. Real. Level 2, Ren murmured. He picked up his pencil and sharpened it again. The game wasn't over. The tutorial was just the beginning. The architect was still out there, and now the war had moved to a new map. Ren looked at the dark screen of his computer. Bring it on, he said. Ren sat in his office chair, but the world wouldn't stop spinning. He wasn't wearing the VR headset anymore, but his vision was cluttered. Phantom HUDs flickered at the edges of his eyesight, ghostly health bars hovering over his stapler, dialogue prompts appearing when he looked at his coffee mug. Item, cold coffee, effect, +1 stamina, -5 morale. Get out of my head, Ren growled, rubbing his temples. This was the bleeding effect. The result of diving too deep, too fast with illegal hardware. His brain was struggling to distinguish between the rendered world of Elysium and the gritty reality of Neo-Seoul. He reached for the bottle of bourbon in his drawer. His hand shook. Not a tremble, but a glitch. His fingers seemed to stutter, moving in jerky frames. Analog, Ren whispered, forcing himself to focus on the grain of the wooden desk. Focus on the analog. He poured a drink. The burn of the alcohol helped. It was real. It grounded him. Plus, his phone vibrated on the desk. Caller ID, Jamie Glitchner? Ren picked up. You alive, kid? I think so. Jamie's voice came through the speaker, breathless and young. I logged out. My rig is smoking. Literally smoking. Ren, that wasn't a crash. That was a nuke. We hurt him, Ren said. We hurt the architect. He dropped the server to stop the corruption from spreading. Yeah, well, he's mad, Jamie said. I'm looking at the net. Omni Corp just put out a bounty. Not in-game. A real-world bounty. Information leading to the arrest of cyber terrorists. They posted a sketch. It looks like your avatar, V1. Ren stood up and walked to the window. He peered through the blinds. The street below was slick with rain. Neon lights reflected in the puddles like spilled oil. It looked peaceful. Too peaceful. They don't have my real face, Ren said. My rig is ghosted. My IP is bounced through 3 dead satellites. The architect isn't looking for an IP, Ren. He's looking for a pattern. He knows you're a detective. He knows you use old tech. How many PIS in the lower ward still use a Mark IV headset? Ren froze. He looked at his reflection in the window. Behind him, in the reflection, he saw something. A red light. A tiny, unblinking red dot moving across his chest. Jamie, Ren said, his voice dropping to a deadly calm. Get out of your house. Now. What? Why? Go to the safe house we talked about. The arcade in District 4. Don't go home. Don't log in. Ren, you're scaring me. Move, kid. Ren threw the phone. He didn't dive for cover. He dove for the breaker box on the wall. Crash. The window exploded. A drone smashed through the glass, hovering in the center of the office. It wasn't a delivery drone. It was a hunter-seeker. A black, sleek machine armed with a microgun and a red sensor eye. Target identified. Ren. Priority, eliminate. The voice was synthesized. It sounded exactly like the architect. Ren yanked the main lever on the breaker box. Ketchup. The lights in the office died. The neon sign outside flickered and went dark, plunging the room into shadows. The drone whirred, switching to thermal vision. Its red eye scanned the darkness. Hiding. Futile. Ren was already moving. He knew this room. He knew every creaky floorboard, every pile of books. He moved silently, a ghost in his own home. He reached the heavy oak desk. He flipped it over. Thud. Bullets tore into the wood a split second later. BRRRT. The drone fired a burst, shredding the papers and splintering the oak. You want to play? Ren snarled, grabbing the Wonderland token from the floor where it had fallen. He didn't have a weapon. He had a paperweight, a bottle of bourbon, and a lighter. He grabbed the bourbon. He ripped a strip of cloth from his shirt and stuffed it into the bottle. Item crafted, Molotov cocktail, quality, poor. Even his hallucination was trying to gamify his death. Ren lit the rag. The flame flared up, illuminating his scarred face. The drone spun toward the light. Target acquired. Ren threw the bottle. It smashed against the drone's chassis. Alcohol splashed over the rotors and the sensor eye. Whoosh. The drone caught fire. It shrieked, a mechanical wail that sounded disturbingly like the glitch bear. It spun wildly, its gyroscopes failing. It crashed into the bookshelf, setting the old paperbacks on fire. Ren didn't wait. He grabbed his coat and his backup drive. He ran for the door. He burst out into the hallway of the tenement building. But he wasn't safe. Standing at the end of the hall were two men. They wore Omni Corp security uniforms, but their faces were blank. Not covered by masks, just blank, smooth synthetic skin. Androids. Mr. Rin, the one on the left said. His voice was polite, corporate. Your subscription has expired. They raised silenced pistols. Rin looked at the stairs. What? The elevator? A death trap. He looked at the window at the end of the hall. It led to the fire escape. Physics check, Rin muttered to himself. He turned and sprinted toward the window. The androids fired. Fut, fut. Bullets chipped the plaster around his head. Rin threw himself at the window. He didn't open it. He crashed through it. Glass shattered. Rin fell into the rain. He grabbed the rusty railing of the fire escape, the metal biting into his palms. He swung himself over the edge, landing on the metal grate with a heavy clang. He didn't stop. He scrambled down the ladder, sliding the last 10 feet to the alley floor. He landed in a puddle of acidic water. His ankle twisted, but he forced himself to run. Behind him, the office window was glowing orange. His sanctuary was burning. His files, his books, his analog life, all turning to ash. Rin limped into the labyrinth of the lower ward alleys. The rain masked his tears if there were any. He reached a phone booth, an antique he kept active for emergencies. He dialed a number. Pick up, pick up. Hello? Jamie, Rin panted, leaning against the graffiti-covered glass. You safe? I'm at the arcade. V1, I saw the news. There's a fire reported in your sector. Was that? The architect sends his regards, Rin said. He knows who I am. He knows who you are. What do? We can't go back to the game. He'll see us. Rin looked at the iron token in his hand. The rain slicked off its cold surface. The Black Citadel. We can't go back as players, Rin said. And we can't stay here as victims. He looked up at the towering spire of the Omni Corp headquarters in the distance, piercing the clouds like a needle. He burned my house, Jamie. He tried to kill my partner. And now he wants a war. Rin clenched the token. We're going to give him one. But not in Riverwood. We're going straight to the endgame. How? The servers are down. For the public, yes, Rin said. But there's always a developer backdoor. A test server. The Black Citadel isn't a public zone. It's the admin console. Meet me at the arcade. Bring your rig. We're going to hardline in. Hardline? Rin, that's dangerous. If we die in a developer build. We die for real, Rin finished. I know. He hung up the phone. Rin stepped out of the booth. He pulled his collar up against the acid rain. He wasn't a detective anymore. He wasn't a vagrant. He was a man with nothing left to lose. Quest updated, survive. Objective, infiltrate the Black Citadel. Difficulty, impossible. Rin walked into the shadows of the city, leaving the burning building behind him. The game had bled into reality and now he was going to bleed it back.